Yeah.
Sort of thing, staying away, making sure that we still try to keep ourselves safe, even though they're saying, let's lessen it up a bit. I still try to practice that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are, only because they're concerned,
Right. Especially people who know people who are vulnerable and things like that.
Sort of thing, staying away, making sure that we. Hello.
Hi, Jenny. How are you doing?
Hi. Good. Very good. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, Don was just talking about how the weather is really nice outside that we're missing out on.
Oh, I'm terribly disappointed on that. Let me get my video up. Hi, Dawn.
Hey, Jenny. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Don't mind the bells in the background. We had to go vote
Oh.
on PMB. So
On what PMB?
yeah, I'm just one of the motions that somebody's brought forward this morning. So
Okay.
been a big morning that way.
Just so you know, we are live.
Yeah.
Getting ready for.
Just to let you know, we are live now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is it nice in Toronto too, Jenny?
It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's that sunshine.
I know, for sure.
Mm.
Sunshine makes us all feel better, right?
Yeah, we've been wanting for it for a while, right? Warm sunshine, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Rochelle.
What's going on with me? Got to fix this.
Just so you know, we are live. It's just getting ready for the noon.
Yeah. But how come? Weird. I was on Gmails or what is it? What is the one called? I don't want to see half of me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can see all of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can't hear you now. You're off.
You can see full screen of me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, your face anyway. Yeah.
I can only see half of me.
No.
I don't know. I was on what is it? Google Teams earlier, so who knows? As long as you can see me, I'm good.
Yeah, that
Bye,
works.
Chantel.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Hi, Chris and Walter. Just so you know, we are live. Just waiting for noon.
Okay. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Hanging
good.
in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. Eh?
It's been busy.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Everybody, I think, has been. It's wonderful, though. Hey, what would we do if we weren't busy? We'd be bored.
True enough.
Just changing my name here.
Dodge. And this screen is weird.
You're half of you?
Yeah, that's all I can see is half of me.
That is, eh? Uh-oh. There. It matches all. I'm just changing my screen.
Chris, are you zooming from Ottawa? Okay, from St. Catharines?
Yeah, I haven't been to Ottawa since December. So we only keep a skeleton crew there. I think there's usually only one Liberal member, two at most in the House.
Okay.
The gang's all here.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Chris, Nikki Lynn, Lori.
Rochelle, is Donna close to signing on?
I just spoke to her. She said she was logging in.
All right. We'll get started at noon on the button there. Just a couple more minutes to go.
Sala, this is Leanne from the mayor's office. We're just waiting for the mayor to get in place, if you don't mind holding.
Oh,
for
yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank
fine.
you.
He's lucky he gets to be outside. He's gonna do the flag raising.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Next couple days.
I wonder whether we'll get snow again.
Next year.
That's optimistic. I like that. Hi, everyone. Hi, Fatima.
Hi, Fatima. So for those who are watching online, we're just waiting for the mayor to be positioned by the flagpole, and we'll start very shortly. Great, glad to see Donna's signed in.
I'm just waking up.
Just so you know, Donna, we are live. We're just waiting for the mayor to get into position with the flag.
Okay, sounds good. Come on, sit up here. Come on. Come on, kitty cat. You're not going out just yet.
Liana, they're about ready to go?
Yeah, he's just chatting with the students, and just 1 second, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yep.
Can you
Can you hear me?
Yep, yeah, we can hear you. It's a little faint, but it's
How about this?
This is better.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Perfect.
See, now you're seeing how technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's get started then, and then I'll do some introductions, and then so we have some time before the mayor. Is that okay, Leon?
That's great. I'll just put him on mute until you're finished your introductions, okay?
Wonderful. Well, Welcome everybody to the live stream of the second Harriet Tubman Day event of the Anti-Racism Advisory Committee of the City of St. Catharines. I'm Saleh Waziruddin, Chair of the committee, and I'd like to start by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today's gathering place is the home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Acknowledging this reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people. Today's program will start with remarks from the Mayor, Walter Sendzik, who will be raising the Pan-African flag with the Harriet Tubman Public School students, Kaylin Codigan and Honey Arton. They'll be followed by our special guest speakers, Donna Ford, Chair of the Central Ontario Network for Black History, and Rochelle Bush, Trustee and Public Historian, Salem Chapel BME Church and Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad National Historical Site, followed by myself. But I'd also like to acknowledge present here, we're very happy to have our federal MP, Chris Biddle, our provincial MPP zooming in directly from Queen's Park, Jenny Stevens, and our St. Catharines City Councilors, Dawn Dodge and Lori Littleton, and also from the Anti-Racism Advisory Committee of the City of St. Catharines, our Vice Chair, Fatima Sheikh, and also committee member, Vicki Lynn Smith. And with that, I'd like to, and also, sorry, our staff liaison, Chantal Switzer, and thanks to the many staff who worked at putting together the logistics for today's event. And I'd like to hand over now to Mayor Walter Sendzik and the Harriet Tubman High School students.
Thank you very much, Slay. And on behalf of City Council, I just want to say thank you first to Slay and the Anti-Racism Committee and for the work that they're doing here in the City of St. Catharines. It's an honor to be doing this virtual flag raising of the Pan-African flag in honor of Harriet Tubman Day. Given this gathering restrictions of COVID-19 pandemic, I am joined at City Hall only by a few special people from Harriet Tubman Public School, which is just around the corner, and they're going to be helping to raise the flag. So I will be bringing up Kaylin and Honey, as well as their teacher, Miss Latif, who will be coming up in a few minutes to raise the flag. And also joining us virtually, I just want to say thank you to Rochelle Bush, the historian and trustee at the BME Church, as well as Donna Ford, chair of the Central Ontario Network Pandemic. I am joined at City Black History. Sounds like there's a bit of feedback, sorry. In honor of her courage and humanitarian efforts, heroism, and her life service, March 10th was declared Harriet Tubman Day in the United States, and St. Catharines is the only city in Canada to mark this occasion as well, and that makes me very proud that we are able to raise this flag because Harriet Tubman has played such an important role here in our community. It's inspiring to learn about the impact Harriet has made on members of the community all these years later from very different perspectives. Harriet Tubman arrived in St. Catharines in 1851, one in a group of 11 others who managed to escape the bonds of slavery and travel to freedom. It is estimated that Harriet Tubman made more than 19 trips to the United States and escorted over 300 people to freedom on the Underground Railroad during those perilous times. BME Church here in St. Catharines, a National Historical Site, holds several artifacts from her time here. Tour buses stop so people can see where the woman called Moses worshipped and continue to offer tours of this historical site in our city. While we celebrate Harriet's leadership this week, it is also time to celebrate leaders of today who continue to work on breaking down the barriers of racism. People like Rochelle Bush, the trustee at the BME Church, who is dedicated to continuing to educate us about the history of Harriet Tubman, the Underground Railroad, and the importance of St. Catharines and the BME Church as a safe haven. On a broader scale over the past year in North America, we've seen and heard the scenes of racism played out, some very blatant, others more subtle, but all of them real with no place in our society. I'm proud of those who have joined together for peaceful demonstrations against racism right here in St. Catharines. It will take all of us to call out these injustices until there is no longer racism in our community. And speaking of the next generation, those who are coming up and learning from us, I'd like to welcome a teacher from Harriet Tubman, Miss Latif, as well as two students who will be raising the flag. Kaylin and Honey will be raising the Harriet Tubman flag today. Come on up. Here you go. You grab on. So get to the top.
Thank you very much there. Thank you. And I'd also like to mention we're joined now also by City Councilor Carlos Garcia, and I've neglected to mention MP Chris Biddle's office, Zach Datson. Was that it for your remarks, Mayor Senzik? Great. I'd like to hand over now to Donna Ford, Chair of the Central Ontario Network for Black History. Chantel, do you know if she's muted from our end?
No. Let me see. Donna, can you hear us?
Maybe we can get her in by phone, worst come to worst. I think.
You want me to call her?
Yeah, just in case. Yeah. Gonna see if I can fix it by the app.
Hey, Donna, are you good? Yep. So you have to unmute and you have to click on the video icon so we can see you. So we're ready. They're ready for you now.
Okay, let me start the video. Okay, how's that? Is that better?
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Great, so you've been introduced, so you're good to go, Donna.
Yeah, hang up the phone.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. Now, if you see something jumping at the screen on you, that will be my pussycat. She doesn't like to be left out of things. So she's going to listen and then she's going to jump at you or get up on the desk. She likes to do that. Anyhow, it's a pleasure to be here. Central Ontario Network is 20 years old. When we formed with the idea of promoting our history, and that's what we do. So we're a group that have historical sites like the church in St. Catharines, the church in Niagara Falls. We have the museums, and we're all part of it. And our mission is to talk about and promote our history. So that's what we do basically. And of course, we're running out of sites, and so it's pretty hard to have sites built today, but we can still talk about our history. So anytime you need a speaker, perhaps we can provide you with one. Not always, but we can sometimes. So what can we say about Harriet Tubman today? What do we think about her? Here we are, the only city outside of the United States that has a Harriet Tubman Day. And we are never going to forget what she did, what she what she created. And when things today are getting better, do we still have a need for Harriet to come out and tell us what we need to do? Do we still need to remind ourselves of what she did? And I think the answer to that is yes. So later on, I'm going to read you a little piece about Harriet. Back in the day when Harriet came to St. Catharines, there were also an awful lot of officials sent from the United States to make sure that they were telling the story correctly. And one of those was Benjamin Drew. I just want to just get my notes here. Benjamin Drew came up here to interview all of the runaway slaves that were here in St. Catharines. And there were hundreds of those, like you know. And he interviewed Harriet. And I would like to just read to you what she said to him when he asked her the questions. There it is here. Okay, this is what Harriet had to say. She said, "I grew up like a neglected weed, ignorant of liberty, having no experience of it. Then I was not happy or contented. Every time I saw a white man, I was afraid of being carried away. I had 2 sisters carried away in a chain gang. One of them left 2 children. We were always uneasy," which is easy to understand today. "Now I've been free, I know what a dreadful condition slavery is. But I have seen hundreds of escaped slaves, but I never saw one who was willing to go back and be a slave once they were freed. I have no opportunity to see my friends in my native land. We would rather stay in our native land if we could be as free there as we are here. I think slavery is the next thing to hell. If a person would send another into bondage, he would, it appears to me, be bad enough to send him into hell if he could." That was her opinion of slavery. So that's probably why Harriet decided that she was going to spend the next 30 years of her life freeing slaves. And that's what she did. And it's been a wonderful story that she tells. It's just, for the rest of her life, she never thought about herself. She thought about other people, and she spent that time bringing others to freedom. So I think we have a lot to be grateful for, and it's wonderful that she came to St. Catharines, and people know St. Catharines now, and they, except the movie, of course. The movie didn't know St. Catharines. So I'm sure everybody saw the movie here. And I don't think if we had clapped so loudly in the movie theater that night of the story of Harriet Tubman, they wouldn't have quite known what it was. But anyhow, we will never forget her. And it's so wonderful that our children at the Harriet Tubman School know all about her. And she's representing those little children who now know what slavery and freedom is all about. So that's it.
Thank you, Donna, Chair of the Central Ontario Network for Black History. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And next we've got Rochelle Bush, Trustee and Public Historian, Salem Chapel BME Church, and Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad National Historic Site.
Thank you, Sully. Hello, everyone. I'd like to say it's a pleasure to be here today. Actually, it's an honor. So this is the 31st annual Harriet Tubman Day celebration, as Mayor Sensnick has indicated earlier. So it was first celebrated on Saturday, March 10th, 1990 in St. Catharines. 108 years ago today, Harriet Tubman passed away. 159 years ago, she left St. Catharines and was enlisted into the Civil War in the Union Army. And then after that, she settled in Auburn, New York. So I'm just going to read a bit from the proclamation from 1990. So I can hold it up here. It's just a copy of it from Mayor Joe McCaffrey. It says, whereas an international tribute has been scheduled for March 10th, 1990 to honor the bravery and compassion of Harriet Tubman, one of the most famous conductors of the Underground Railroad, who, a fugitive slave herself, risked her life guiding Blacks from slavery to places of freedom, including the city of St. Catharines. And whereas the city of St. Catharines was the last station in Harriet Tubman's journey north and served as a haven for the hundreds of Blacks who remained in the area to become an important part of the social fabric of our community. Whereas the British Methodist Episcopal Church at 92 Geneva Street was her place of worship and the source of strength and encouragement for Harriet Tubman and her people. It continues today to be a place of worship of Black culture and heritage for many of their descendants. So when Harriet Tubman passed away in 1913, she did have 5 relatives living here in Ontario, 4 in St. Catharines and 1 in Haldimand County in Cayuga. And she bequeathed them some items as well. Sully, as we all know, the church is going to undergo a major restoration project. I mean, there was a GoFundMe that occurred in 2017, but if it's okay, I would like to throw in a curveball and afford the remainder of my time to our MP, Chris Biddle, because man, if it wasn't for him telling us about the $100,000 grant, guess what? So if you're okay with that, I'd like to pass it on to him, please.
Well, thank you so much, Rochelle. And that was one of my highlights in the last 5.5 years in my job, to be able to make that call. Harriet Tubman wasn't someone we heard about in school when I was going to school as a kid, and as someone who loves history and loved history even as a high school student. It's important that we now recognize that the importance of Harriet Tubman, not only to the history of the Civil War, but the history of Canada, the history of Niagara, and that Black history and the history of Niagara and Canada are one. It's all together, and the ability to announce, and hopefully we'll be able to have a more formal announcement as things allow, to preserve that history for future generations, so that Harriet Tubman's story can be told in the place that she called home, and how important that is. And as Canadians, we're not always great at preserving history, but as a neighbor down the road, my office, I'm excited that this will help preserve that going forward. And if I can just say very, very quickly, though, I just want to thank Rochelle as well, as a student of history and someone who loves history, to be able to go and talk to her and hear about St. Catharines, the good, the bad, the ugly, because it wasn't all positive in Harriet Tubman's time. And though we like to tell her story, it's also important to tell the other stories. And I also take comfort, and Rochelle also likes to tell the story of Harriet Tubman's allies at the time, including William Hamilton Merritt, and perhaps give some inspiration to the rest of us, because there are far too many politicians who look like me, and that has been the history of Canada as well. And to use that power and use that privilege to advance anti-racism, and to talk about these stories. And because racism didn't end when the Civil War ended, when slavery was abolished, and that legacy continues not only in the United States, but in Canada as well. So I'm rambling on a bit, but again, my thanks to Rochelle, my thanks to the Anti-Racism Advisory Committee for this day. And as a quick side note, I was going through my photos from a year ago, and one of my last events was public events, was at Salem Chapel a year ago. And I look forward to hopefully in the near future being able to get back and celebrating together. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Chris. And did you want to say anything more, Rochelle? Great. Thanks, Rochelle Bush, trustee and public historian, Salem Chapel BME Church and Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad site. And I'd just like to add that Harriet Tubman is not the kind of resident that we can just be proud to have in our history here in St. Catharines, but instead she's someone whose living legacy we have to live up to. We have big shoes to fill. Harriet Tubman was a Black woman who did not stay within the restrictions the society and politics of the time limited her to. She did whatever it took to get justice for her people. We in St. Catharines can't limit ourselves to thinking that as a lower tier municipality, we have to wait for the other levels of government to catch up to do right by Harriet Tubman's community, which is still part of St. Catharines, and the BIPOC and other equity-seeking communities that are part of our city. If the federal, provincial, or regional governments are behind on what they should be doing, the city government still has a role to do whatever can and needs to be done to bring what needs to happen closer. Just to give you two examples that have come up recently, the Anti-Racism Advisory Committee has been looking at what the city can do about hate speech and hate signs if hate crimes are not being fully prosecuted by the Crown. Also, groups have been asking the province to test landlords for housing discrimination and take them to the Human Rights Tribunal. If the province won't do the testing, let's find a way for the city to fill in the gaps. Harriet Tubman's legacy is not just a history, but is also our accountability. Thank you all for attending this event in her memory today, and let's make it part of getting more involved in eliminating racism with Harriet Tubman as someone to live up to. Thank you very much for attending and for everybody watching the live stream and for making this event possible.
Very good.